Oh, yeah, that is. This is Between Hook Sets. I'm Jason Walter from In Through the Outdoors with my partner in slime, Kurt Underhill from the Fishing Crew.
What is going on, dude?
It always amazes me. The guy in that show start thing always gets my name right. How the hell does he do that? You know what I'm saying to you?
Yeah.
Every time. But at least he gets it right?
Every time. What's been going on, bud?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's just been, there's just so much going on. Do you realize how hard it is to paint stripes on candy canes? My God, it takes forever.
You've been out trying to paint stripes on candy canes. Leave it to you to do that. No, you were going to get your skid shack. So ice is getting thick over in your neck of the woods. We are still staring at open water here in Pierre.
Yeah, so my skid shack sprung a leak some way, somehow. I don't know. So the guy that built it took it back and worked on it. And like, okay, we were on 11 inches ice on Friday. Saturday, it was almost 12. So I'm guessing by now we've got to have 13, 14 inches. So yeah, it's time. It's pull the skid shack. It's get ready for wheelhouses time.
Yeah, we're still wide open.
Are you? Well, yeah, it's the river, though. You know, I mean, that's.
I mean, the bays aren't even icing up. We just have had too much. It gets cold, and we get warm weather and wind. So, but
big winds tomorrow. I don't know. Are you going to end up with the 45-mile-an-hour winds that we're going to have here?
No,
Maybe you're getting them tonight.
I get so sick of looking at winds during summer and guide season and hunting season that I really don't even look at it right now. Whatever I wake up to is what I get.
Yeah, I get you. That's kind of the way it's got to be. There's no point in looking at the forecast. You look at the forecast, and it's not right anyway. So I started looking the day of whatever I'm doing anymore. I don't even look 3, 4, 5 days ahead. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, tonight's going to be fun. Those that don't know what the NPAA is, you're going to be your chance to find out all about the NPAA and meet their new president. So,
yeah,
we'll bring Eric in and learn all about the NPAA. How you doing tonight, Eric?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, good to see you. Just let me just go back. I just want to point here. Right there. Now, here's the deal, though. When I signed up, I did not sign up as a professional angler because I'm not, but I have 47 years of professional angling consumerism in my repertoire on my resume. So I've been buying tackle, so I'm a professional tackle buyer.
That's really interesting, Jason, because there's lots of professionals that like don't fish tournaments too. I've been on all sides of being in the professional angler industry, being in the fishing tackle industry, and I know in your past time you've been in the industry, and those are the kind of people that we like to welcome to the membership.
So, Eric, before we get into the NPAA, a little background on you. Where you're up in what, Bemidji now?
I am in Bemidji.
So you're in the heart of ice country.
We have way more than 13 inches of ice.
Yeah, see you this weekend.
I was listening to the pre-show, and I'm curious, where are you at, Chase? What part of
Brookings, South Dakota.
Okay, in Brookings. So yeah, that's a wonderful.
So Lake Ponset, Thompson.
Yeah, wonderful place in the world to fish. That's definitely in my top 5. When I talk about the places that I love to fish, so one of the reasons I moved to Bemidji, Minnesota, is because I love Lake of the Woods so much, and particularly Lake of the Woods in Ontario. But so I would say that's in my top 5. Here for sure, Northeast South Dakota, where you guys are at, Bismarck. I mean, us three live like in the best fishing in the whole world, in my opinion. And in Venice, Louisiana, I like that place too, but it's a long ways from here.
I always had dreams of the Columbia River because I wanted to catch that 14 to 16 pound walleye, because 10 years ago, 15 years ago, that was a big deal. And now that just isn't a big deal. Oh, you caught a 16 pounder. Okay. Call me when you catch an 18. Let me know when you get your 20. It's crazy. I mean, it really is. think about the Columbia, though.
Well, that river that Kurt lives on out there, it's got 16-pounders in it too. So
yes,
Oh, yeah.
it's got.
pretty
Here's the
awesome.
deal: it's got a 20-pounder, but don't tell anybody. It's down there. It's there, and one of these days somebody will find it.
Well, we've been kind of known as the guys that host the state record holders because, fortunately enough, last year, our first year of the show, we got lucky enough to have the state record broke twice in 15 days, and we were lucky enough to land basically both of them for their first interviews on our show. And this year we get a text. People are like, "Hey, big one's coming." Jason got a text saying, "Possible new state record." And he goes, "How big is it?" And he goes, "It's a big 16." He goes, "Call me when it's 18 because it ain't close." It was a gorgeous fish. Don't want to take anything away from
it was.
not the
Oh,
16-pounder, but you're a year late on breaking the state record with the thing. So it's incredible what we have going on Lake Oahe and the fishery it's become with our bait system. So it's awesome. But let's get into Eric a little bit. What's your background and how did you get to become the president of the NPAA?
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride for me. I grew up in Northwest Iowa. Loved to fish since I can even I can't remember it. I had family, grandfathers, uncles, my father, neighbors. They'd take me fishing when I was growing up, and so I grew up in a town by the name of Emmitsburg, and you either played football or wrestled there. So I did both of those things, and we were like big football program, farm community. But I always loved to fish. I would got in trouble a few times for skipping school to go fishing in high school and whatnot. So
can't blame you for that.
So I had fishing and football, and I went to a small university in Northwest Iowa because it was on a lake. It was in Storm Lake, Iowa, and played football there for a couple of years. And I decided I would rather fish in the afternoons than do that. So graduated from there and went to work as a banker because I thought the bankers worked until 3:00 in the afternoon, right? And then
let me prognosticate. You were raising pigs as a kid, and you ended up at the bank borrowing a little bit of money, and you decide you want to be a banker.
Yeah. But I found out that didn't work too well. So it didn't work for me, and it didn't work for the people I was working for. So I left that job, and I had the opportunity to buy a little bit of farm ground back in the early 90s. They started these large hog confinement things in the Northwest Iowa, and my father and I built us a hog confinement outfit, and I got married, had a beautiful wife that would do my chores, and I started fishing walleye tournaments.
But no, wait a minute. You started fishing walleye tournaments. That means you fished with Tommy Scarless.
Yes, Tommy Scarless, rest his soul. He actually I roomed with Tommy for a number of years during our run. I roomed with Tommy. We had John Kalinsky, Ernie Olson with us, and we were kind of a force to be reckoned with against all those the legends of the sport.
You just threw some names out there right there. There's a lot of people that probably are going, who?
Yeah, right. Well, they were great anglers, and obviously Ernie and John still are today. But Tommy was he was one of a kind, and I love Tommy. We got along well. Tommy was the loud one, and I was the quiet one, and we worked really, really well together. So I started doing that, and I where I was living in Northwest Iowa was only like 50 miles from Pure Fishing Berkeley back in the days in Spirit Lake, Iowa. So I was knocking on their door all the time to become, be sponsored by Berkeley. And I slowly worked my way in the door and, provided value to them. And I really enjoyed that side of the business. I enjoyed the business side. And so in 1993, I believe, I actually got offered a job to work for Berkeley as they called it the grassroots manager back then. And I was just, I thought, well, this is the greatest thing ever, because, I can work for my favorite fishing tackle company, Trilene and Powerbait and Fenwick and Abac, all that great stuff that I always loved. And so I could work for them. And also this job was I could work with all of their sponsored anglers. So when I was growing up, my idols were Hank Parker, Al Linder, Bill Dance, all these guys. Well, this new job I had, we sponsored all those dudes, right?
Sure.
So
Sure.
I got to go fishing. I got to go fishing with Hank Parker, Al Linder, Bill Dance throughout my time there, and I loved it. It was a great opportunity. I was there for about 10 years, and it got sold. Changed. It was Outdoor Technologies Group, Pure Fishing, and then another private equity firm bought them, whatnot, and they were moving all of the marketing people and the folks like that I was involved, the part of the business I was involved in, to South Carolina. And at the same time, John Peterson, was a friend of mine through the PWT, John Peterson, who owned Northland Fishing Tackle, sold his business. So he sold his business to a couple guys that I used to work with at Berkeley. And they called me and they said, "Hey, do you want to come to Bemidji and help us at Northland Fishing Tackle?" And I decided I could either move to Bemidji, Minnesota, and live 120 miles from my favorite lake in the world, which is Northwest Ontario Lake of the Woods, or I could move to South Carolina and learn how to saltwater fish. And I decided to come to Bemidji. Sometimes I wonder. I mean, but we love it up here. My kids were in grade school, and it's been it's been great for them, for my family. My wife works at the hospital here, so we've been in Bemidji since 2000 and
Here, 2000 and long ago.
2009. So we've been here a long time, so we consider this home now.
Well, I saw this picture online. I'm like, oh my, that just goes back a long way. Bionic and the whole 9 years. Like, I got to eat that picture tonight.
That was on Devil's Lake. I can. It's funny because I can remember like every fish I've caught everywhere, pretty much everywhere, all the time. But I don't remember what time I'm supposed to be in a meeting the next week. So
it's because you know what's important to you, right? I remember all my fish too, because I've only caught like 13 my entire life that I can remember. So I'm not
yeah. So my career, I was here at Northland Tackle for 15 years, and I left there about 18 months ago. And actually, Northland just sold to a company, GSM Outdoors, Good Sports Marketing, out of Plano, Texas, I believe is where they're at. They're a large corporation. So yeah, that's where I'm at now. Pat and I, who is a dear friend of mine, I competed against him in walleye tournaments, and I've known Pat forever. When I was at Northland, I always supported the NPAA, and Pat had been after me for many years because he knew he was going to retire. So he'd been asking me, and I've said, well, I kind of, my job at Northland's good and whatever. And so when I retired from Northland, I'm like, well, what am I going to do? So I do this OEM tackle manufacturing for a bunch of companies, but I really wanted to. Pat called me again. I said, okay. I said, let's do it because I want to get back to the sport. And it's been so good to me, through my career. I've met so many great people. I get to meet new people every day. I met you two guys tonight.
Right.
This is awesome. Right. I mean, this is what our sport is all about. And so I want to give back to it and help people, if they're interested in my path or any path in the fishing tackle industry. That's kind of what the NPAA is about and what we're doing.
So, hey, Eric, Merry Christmas to you, bud.
Pat, Merry Christmas to you too, by the way, buddy.
So NPAA, let's get into NPAA a little bit and the history of NPAA, because when I talked to you for the first time here a couple weeks ago, you informed me of something that I bet you very few people know.
Yeah, and that is the NPAA was formed in Pierre, South Dakota.
Yeah, you told me that, and I'm like, crazy full circle, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I love about the fishing industry is it seems to be a full circle. Like you'll never know. You meet somebody, and then 5 years later, something else comes up or whatever. And it was started by Mike McClellan, correct?
Correct.
And why was it started? And and you said you were sitting at one of the first meetings ever.
Yeah, I actually was. We auctioned off numbers at the beginning. So at the beginning, there was a group of anglers that were fishing the PWT, and I was green as hell then. I mean, I just started, and that was one of the things that drew me to the organization is, I was learning from guys like Gary Roach, Mike McClellan, Bob Props, all of these legends, and they decided to form an organization, to improve the professionalism of the group and grow the sport of fishing. That's really what they started it to do. So to educate other anglers, younger guys like me that I could learn from those guys to, how to get sponsors, how to do, how to be a great part of the industry. So yeah, I joined and we had an auction. I think I got number 27. I think that's the one I bought. I don't know. I spent a bunch of money because I wanted 54 because that was my football number, but it cost me too much, so I can only afford 27. I just divided it in two. Yeah, and I mean, all of the guys that were at the beginning of the Walleye tournament world were members. I learned a lot from them, and yeah, so that's how the organization started. It was in the 90s, probably mid 90s, and it kind of went here and there, and when I got into the the business side of the industry, the tackle and that side of the thing, I always promoted and I always sponsored the NPAA because I believed in all those anglers and what they were doing. So yeah, Pierre, South Dakota was where it all started, and actually that's where it was incorporated. Our bylaws are still in the state of South Dakota.
I love
crazy.
That. Yeah.
So what is the NPAA in a nutshell, and then we can dive in a little more so people that are watching understand if they've never known what the NPAA is, and it's not just for professional anglers, it's for a lot of things.
Yeah, it really is. There, if I think the way I think about it, and with our mission statement, there's really three key legs to the stool. One is education. So we want to educate our members on a number of things. If you want to be a professional angler, this is what you need to do. If you are a guide, this is the insurance that you need. If you're a tournament angler, this is how you get sponsors. That's really a key thing is education and professionalism. The other key, the other two legs of the stool would be growing the sport. So we do a lot of kids events through the Future Angler Foundation and Wildlife Forever. I mean, all our members are, I think we gave out over 5,000 rod and reel combos to kids, through our promotion per year. And then the third thing is to protect the sport. So as the president, as Pat did in the past, the past 15 years, I'll sit on the American Sport Fish Association government affairs committee. So I'm dialed into everything that's going on in the sport, and we really encourage all of our members to send us things that are going on in their little world, in their region, because we can help, because we have the connections to the ASA, which is directly involved with Washington and all of the state agencies. And it was interesting, Kurt, because I really appreciated your in our previous conversation, your work with the South Dakota DNR. It's so important to be involved, and the NPAA wants to protect our sport, so we all can continue to fish.
So, I mean, that's huge. Like, when I learned that from you, the horrible side of the legal aspect of this and protecting the sport, and, game fishing parks obviously game fish parks, DNR, wherever you're at, they're there for a reason.
Yep.
But sometimes they make dumb decisions, like every government agency does.
Yeah.
And, they don't know, or, they don't know enough about it. So they throw something at it or whatever. And it, just because it affects us wrong, I get a lot of phone calls like, oh, they're trying to get rid of the one-day fishing license. And before I'll jump to a conclusion, I'm like, they tried to get rid of the one-day fishing license in South Dakota here last year. It was brought to commission, and the 2 days before commission, my phone's blowing up. And I'm like, guys, first guy called me. I said, all right, I'm not saying anything. I got to pump the brakes. I got to go do some research. So I went and did a bunch of research, figured out what was going on. And I called them back and I said, guys, it's within 5 minutes of doing research, I know why they want to get rid of it. The one-day fishing license was like $16. And we put in a habitat stamp a few years ago that was $25 for non-residents. And if you bought your 3-day in the habitat stamp, it was cheaper to buy 3 one-day licenses. Sure. And people were figuring that out. Yep. And so instead of changing the price, which they should have done, up the price of it, they decided to just abolish it. That was their initial thought. And so I said, let me do some, I did my research. I got on the phone with some people I know, and I'm like, guys, it's not a good idea to end the one-day fishing license. The better answer is to reprice it so it's not cheap. I definitely think you should be able to buy a 2-day, but not a 3-day. We have an option for a 3-day fishing license. So, I go to the fisheries meetings. I make sure I'm involved. I listen to commission meetings, so I stay informed, and I do my research. There's a lot of guys out there that I've heard, oh, the habitat stamp, waste of money. Where's it going? I've told the guy for game fishing parks it's hard, but there's a full website. I'm like, guys, you can get on a website and look by a map and see every dollar, every project. It was not easy for me to find. It took me about 10 minutes to find this website, but it's out there.
They like to hide things.
Don't complain if you don't know. And with being able to tie in with the NPAA to have a backer when something big comes, because guys that sit at our levels don't necessarily have the funding, the power, all the things to get anything really changed. But if you're tied in with an organization like NPAA, we can protect the sport, protect the sportsmen, protect all that stuff, because, they have the resources to, look at it nationwide, number one.
Right.
Like when I deal with them on fishing tournament stuff and permitting, and I'm like, this is what North Dakota does. This is what Wyoming does. This is what I do all my research, and I take that all in. And then I go, but this would be great because I don't, I have to sit there for hours and look up every state, where now we could probably just call a guy and he can go, this is what these states do. This works. This doesn't.
Yeah. And the one thing that all of us anglers need to remember is that we're really fortunate with the FET tax and the way that all of our fishing access and is funded is through us. So not only through fishing licenses, right? So, we're funding our states through buying our fishing licenses, but every piece of tackle, every boat, every, spool of fishing line has a federal excise tax that goes directly back to our states to help fund access, help fund fishery stocking, hatcheries, all that stuff. So from all of those levels, from the government affairs at Washington, where the FET is sent out to the states, to the state levels, like you're talking about, was in your work in the South Dakota, all the way to the local levels. The anglers really have the power. I mean, there's 60 million anglers in the U.S. I mean, we have a lot of power. We just have to understand that and make sure that our officials, are keeping our best interests in mind. And that's what the NPAA does, because, without the access, without the great fisheries, and I think we're in some of the best fishing we've ever had. I mean, in my lifetime, I'm 55, but we need to protect that. And that's what the NPAA does.
And that's such a good thing to protect that, but also to educate these anglers, right? Educate these younger kids. I shouldn't even say young kids, people of all ages. The sponsor game, you come from being on getting every phone call, getting every resume, getting everything. Like, there's ways to do it, ways not to do it.
Yeah.
And becoming a member of the NPAA, if you're after getting some of them sponsorships, then this is a great avenue to be taught the right way to do it.
It is. It's a huge, a huge networking family. Yeah, we have 1,300 members, from all over the U.S. and Canada. But it is, if it's as much as you put into it, you're going to get out of it. It's just like anything else. As much as you put into something, you're going to get. I was just going to say,
if you last year I was a member, Zach Axman and Jeremy Olson said, hey, you should join the NPAA. And I'm like, well, why? I'm not a professional angler. Well, you don't have to be. But the thing that I've also noticed, and it really made me decide that I need to participate a little bit more. The conference is coming up here, and if you want to join the NPAA and go to the conference, you've got till Friday to sign up for it. But the thing is to be active. If you want to be a member, go ahead and be a member. You can get a number and put it on your pickup or on your boat, whatever. That's great. But you don't get as much out of it until you become active. There have been some really awesome things that the NPAA has offered. Yes, you get discounts. 50% off Rapala, Rip and Wraps, 50% off. I'll take it. That's great. So really, when you spend that $100, you're going to save more in different things that you do. I got a call from a fella. You guys put that media kit together, and anybody that's a member could take the media kit and use that and build a media kit for themselves. And I started doing that. And then the guy called that I believe it was the graphic designer, the guy that put it together for you. And we had a nice long talk about it. And it's amazing. I was really surprised because I grabbed my cell phone, thought, if I can actually edit this thing on my smartphone, then we've got something here. And I did. I started doing it. I didn't finish, but I will once I come back from Wisconsin Dells after the conference, because I feel like I'm going to get a lot more out of it and meet more people. And I'm thinking that's, I'm learning that from you a little bit here, that that's the most important thing, is to be a part of it rather than just I'm a member. So
Right.
I'm excited for what's coming up. And as long as we're on that topic, let's broach the subject here, or let's just dive right in. Tom Wynn's going to be there. Justin Hamner's going to be there. And I'm guessing maybe not all 1,300 members, but you're going to have a lot of people in Wisconsin Dells on January 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Yeah, we will. And that was an older agenda that you had there. It updates
Is it?
yeah,
You did? Okay.
it updates every day. So we have a bunch of breakout sessions with Skeeter boats, Yamaha, Camus, Mercury, St. Croix, and I know I'm forgetting something because I don't have it all in front of me, but it's a great place to meet the people that can help you move your career forward. And like you said, Jason, what's really cool about it, it's $100 to join an annual membership. Well, you can buy one battery from one of our partners, one lithium battery to power whatever you want to do from one of our partners, and you make that $100 back with one battery.
Yeah.
So, and we have many partners. We have 70 industry partners that believe in this organization enough to be a part of it as well. And our members get those the members get the benefits of those discounts, those VIP discounts that our partners offer. So it's a great organization for people that love to fish, that are in the industry, guides, captains, lodge owners, all of the tournament anglers that fish in the Governor's Cup.
Right.
They're all welcome, and we'd love to have them.
And we'll talk about partnership. The fishing crew is partnering this year with the NPAA. We don't have the code yet, but we're going to have a code out that you can use for NPAA that you've joined through the fishing crew. There's not a discount associated with it, but it's going to help us track on how many new members we bring to the NPAA and help us grow that partnership with the organization. And, we partnered with Keep It Clean Minnesota, the fishing crew did. We were the first South Dakota organization to partner with them. We are big into, at the fishing crew, is giving back has been a huge part of what I've been doing over the last, 5-6 years, where we do 50-50 boards and give it to fire departments. We've given we've given a 50-50 board to the Midwest Honor Flight. We've given like $70,000-$80,000 to Retrieving Freedom. And then this last year we did the first ever, actually back up before when my dad passed, my aunt was all over me about a GoFundMe. I said, I don't need the money. Like I don't, just because he passed away, it doesn't mean I need anything. So we took every penny raised on that GoFundMe and bought rods for kids. And every kid that attended our event got a fishing rod that year. We took it one step further this year and went and did the first ever Lieutenant Governor's Cup. Our good friend Travis Stout at Chalik Signs, he came to me and said, I want to be part of this. He's got 3 boys that are big into fishing. So we started calling people, and we ended up we gave 105 kids $15,000 in prizes.
It's awesome.
And we got about 7,500 donated. Think through all the great cash donations. We spent every penny of it. But we got huge discounts all over the places. We got a ton of stuff. We gave 5 kayaks away. The first place kayak every one of us on here would have fought for. It had a Minn Kota trolling motor, a mega lithium battery, a Humminbird Helix 5 on it. I mean, this thing was like a $3,000-$4,000 kayak when we were said and done, and some kid had to catch one fish and win it. We ended up giving 5 away. So we're all about that. We're all about partnering and bringing the youth back getting the youth into sport. I mean, big time. I mean, we had a young man sing, Preston's like 6, and he sang the national anthem. he was so tickled to do it. We had 105 kids running around the bay at Spring Creek catching fish. I was honestly nervous with the houseboaters there, but I got more pictures from the houseboaters that were thinking it was so cool. Kids every direction. I mean, it was so funny because we had their little rules meeting. We did their little rules meeting, and I said, okay, go fish. And we made their parents be with them, and the kids scattered, and all the parents just sat there and spun in circles like, where'd my kid go? Where the heck did my kid just go? And so it was such a fun experience to be able to give back and see them kids. And a lot of them stuck around and watched weigh-ins. The boathouse did a hot dog feed for them. It was such a great experience. And with the NPAA, you can do stuff like that. The NPAA can help with stuff like that. And I've been to many events where they get a fishing rod and a future pro t-shirt. And I see kids still to this day walk around Pierce, South Dakota, the future pro t-shirt on, so it's a great organization. If you're not a member, we'll get a code. We'll put it out on our show. We'll put it out on all our socials so you can use that code to join the NPAA and join the NPAA now and go to the conference. We're going to go. I've never been to one. I'm super jacked to go to Wisconsin and check out the show. I got to yell at some dogs here. So what's all going on? So we got the NWT champion Tom Wynn coming.
Yeah.
And the Bassmaster Classic champion that we got to watch be crowned champion. My wife might kill me if she's watching right now, but my wife cried when Hamner won the classic.
Oh, that's awesome.
She started crying. I look at her, I go, what are you doing? She's like, it's just so emotional. I know what it takes. Like, I know this struggles, like, because we watch all these guys for so many years. We know what it takes, what they put their heart and soul into this, and he was out there. So,
yeah, our featured speakers are, awesome. So we had asked Tom Wynn to come before he won the NWT, and so we were pretty excited when he won.
Yeah, right.
But he's really innovative on how he promotes his sponsors. He's probably, I would argue that he might be the one of the best walleye pros out there right now as far as his sponsorship crew. And then Hamner was mowing grass at the in pouring concrete in Alabama. He mowed the grass at the University of Alabama, and he quit the year, that year, and he started doing well in the tournaments, and he went and won the classic and changed his life. And so I can't wait to hear those guys' story. It's going to be awesome, and I hope they give us some sonar tips too, because they're really good with that forward-facing stuff.
Well, I think one of the coolest moments is when Hamner won it, and his daughter is in the front of his boat making snow angels out of the confetti.
Yeah.
These guys, and a lot of these members, a great buddy of mine is Jeff Gustafson from Kenora, and when he won it, I cried like a baby. I was so happy for him because he is, those guys have that's what they live. They live for these tournaments, and a lot of us are like that. We love fishing, and all the members of the NPAA love fishing, and that's what we talk about as we eat, breathe, and sleep. And that's why I can remember where I caught that perch when I was real skinny back in the 90s. I don't remember where you got that picture, but
that's worth a peek again here. Let's take it.
Yeah. Oh crap!
I got another one.
Oh yeah, well, that's a giant one too. Look at you.
And that's the best part is go out there. You're going to be able to network with guys. So everybody from guides to people that just really enjoy fishing. This is a conference for everybody. You're going to learn something. If you want to get into the industry as a guide, as a co-angler, as a local tournament fisherman, whatever, there's going to be something on all levels. If you're the top names in the industry, there's going to be something on all levels for you at the NPAA.
Yeah, it will. We get a lot of co-anglers or guys that fish local tournaments that come, and they can explore, if it's something that's the right thing for them to do. And we teach them, who to talk to, how to do it, how to be professional, along with, protecting and growing the sport. And, that's really what we're all about.
I love it too, because I mean, Wisconsin Dells is great this time of year. There aren't 3 million people there.
Yeah, if you got kids, they get free water park passes. So
that's why I'm bringing Kurt.
I won't be at any conference. I'll be stuck on a slide. And literally stuck. They'll have to get the maintenance crew to unwedge me from a water slide.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like, so these people that have never heard of it, and I kind of told you, like, when I first talked to you, I signed up thinking it was, a long time ago. I signed up, I became a member, and I didn't put anything into it, and I found no value. I'm like, I don't know what, and me as not being a tournament angler, me as the tournament director side of things, I'm like, I don't fish enough to take, I took advantage of a couple of the discounts, but I didn't know any of the other stuff. And now, after meeting you, talking to you, figuring out what's going on, and now that we're going to be involved and get involved more and more, I'm so excited for the partnership that I'm, and I know over the years I've told guys, I'm like, hey, I signed up as a member. I'm not a member currently, but it's a great thing. Go do it. There was nothing against it. I just didn't find value because I just signed up and I walked away from it.
Well, and I'll learn some things from you, Kurt. I mean, when we talked to each other, a few weeks ago, I came to the South Dakota Governor's Cup, I don't know, 3 years ago, two and a half years ago, and I was out there on vacation, but I'd heard about it, right? So I'd heard about this event, and I got there, and I'm like, holy shit, this is awesome. I mean, everything you wanted at a fishing event was there. We walked around and, talked to everybody, and big giant crowds, and everybody was having fun. Everybody was smiling. I talked to a bunch of people, and that's, that's what we want the NPAA to be about, because fishing is fun. I mean, and that's what, and fishing is great for the, the human spirit. I've never been in a boat ever and had somebody reeling in a fish that wasn't smiling. I think it's impossible.
Well, there are some guys out there in the middle of the Governor's Cup when they hook into a big pike or a salmon. Oh, yeah. They're not smiling.
You're right.
But I get what you mean. Like, they are deep down, but in that moment, they're like, really? I fished the NTC a couple of years ago with my buddy from Wyoming, and we hooked more catfish. We were not smiling at the end of the day when we felt the roll on the end of the line going, another catfish? Like, yeah. Yep. So we do have
break the jig off.
We do have a question before we lose it here. We want to know what it costs to attend. So do you have to be a member, and what does the event cost to attend?
So to attend the event, you can attend as a non-member. It's all on our website, www.npa.net. But if you're a member, it's $125 to attend the conference. If you attend as a non-member, you can attend as a non-member for $225, but the $100 membership fee will be refunded to you if you join at the conference. So basically, it's $125 to attend. Chula Vista, which is the host resort, has room blocks for $139 a night, which is, half price of what it normally is this time of the year. So yeah, but that is what the cost for the conference is.
And it starts Saturday. It's pretty much all day Saturday.
Nope, starts Friday night. So you want to be sure you come Friday night for the meet and greet. That's when you'll be able to do a lot of the networking and that type of thing. It starts bright and early Saturday morning with breakout sessions, and from from our partners, those 9 breakout sessions, some educational sessions, and then we have our business meeting at 1 o'clock, which everybody's welcome to attend. And we have to do that as a nonprofit organization that we are. We have this, that's our yearly business meeting. And then the featured speakers are at, I believe, 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock. And then we run into our Future Angler Foundation benefit banquet, which is a great, that's a really fun time. It's an auction, so they'll be auctioning off some.
So it's really not $135 if you're like me and you like to raise your hand at auctions.
Well, no, you're gonna want to spend some money at the auction because there'll be some good deals there. So yeah, bring a little extra cash here.
So it's cheap to get there. It's just not cheap to leave, is what you're saying.
Oh, there you go.
Right. And then yeah, so the evening event, and then there's a 9 o'clock worship service on Sunday morning, and then everybody's, you're free to go whenever. But that's the agenda. It's kind of action packed, but I think that's good. And it allows, there's time though. With the most important part of it, in my opinion, is to do the networking and meet the people, because you're going to meet great people from all over the country that share the same passion that you have.
So bring a stack of business cards, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So this kind of started as a Midwest based thing for walleye fishing, but now you've expanded to across the country. So it's not just the walleye anglers, it's any angler, any guide, anybody out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It is a nationwide, organization. Our core is in the Midwest. It has been forever, and we're excited to have the conference back in the Midwest. We've had it in Florida the last couple of years. Grew our membership, in the saltwater and the bass world, but yeah, the Midwest is where its roots are, and we're excited to be back.
I'm glad you're back, because I thought about going to Florida. It's just too far, So for anybody in the upper Midwest that wants to join and be a part of it and get active and find a reason to really get into it in 2025, this is your week, because you have to register by Friday, right? So is it Friday midnight or whatever?
Yeah, Friday.
Yeah. So Saturday, no go. So you've got tomorrow. I guess you could do it tonight. And unless you're listening to this on Thursday or Friday or whatever, but you have until February 20th, 11:59.
December 20th, not February.
What did I say?
What did February?
February?
Yeah,
I wish it was February. It'd be closer to spring.
You're jumping way ahead there, bud.
How did I just skip over my favorite holiday, Valentine's Day? Yeah, right. Oh, yeah. So December 20th. Yep. Friday, December 20th is the last day. So you go to NPAA.net here. I'll pop up the banner here again real quick. So NPAA.net, and you can register. You can become a member. Might as well just become a member right away. It's quick and simple. It took me seconds to do, and then register for the conference. And Wisconsin Dells, I'm not kidding. I'm joking, but Wisconsin Dells this time of year is gorgeous, because there just aren't a ton of people around there. We have it to ourselves, so to speak.
Yeah. It'll be fun. It's a great part of the world, and the Midwest is a great part of the world.
So again, tell us who can join. You don't have to be a professional angler. You don't have to make money at it to join. Who all can join?
So anybody that is in the fishing industry, so you can be a communicator, an influencer, a person that works at a tackle store, anybody that's in the fishing industry, somebody that works at a boat dealership, works at your local runnings or fleet farm or whatever in the sporting goods section. Anybody that is a part of of the industry, anybody that fishes a tournament, a captain, a guide, though, anybody is welcome that is in the industry. It is, it's not somebody, you can't like walk off the street and love fishing and not be a part of, some organization. But if you fish the Governor's Cup, if you fish your local bass tour, and you want to check somewhere somehow, and you made income. I mean, it could be a tiny piece of income.
Right.
But then you can join the NPAA.
Well, I got a lot of guys that fish my stuff that have never made income, so I fish tournaments and never made income. Let's put it that way. So,
you've made a check before.
No. Yeah, oh yeah, Pike Masters one year we cashed a check, Pike Masters.
There you go.
I'm pretty dang good. I could bring all my trophies up for our local neighborhood trash masters, where you can weigh anything but a walleye. I've got that. This was the first year I didn't cash a check in that. So, but no, I mean honestly, it's for tournament anglers, anybody that's striving to be one.
Yeah,
and anybody that, like I said, anybody that has a passion for the sport that is somewhat in the industry or wanting to get into the industry. Like I want to make sure like these guys that are new to the sport, new to that, understand like this is something for you. This is a great place to start.
Yeah, we are a trade organization. So that, that's why I talked about being in the industry, because we are a trade organization. That is how we've been set up. But yes, we welcome people to come and learn from us, because that's what we're here for. We're here to educate. We're here to grow the sport. We're here to protect the sport. Those are the three things that the NPA is around for.
Well, you should change the income to if you have income or expenses from the fishing industry. Your membership pool will quadruple if you say expenses.
Yeah, it was funny because when I was tournament fishing, after about the third year, my accountant, because I had the farm deal too, he finally said, "Hey, you got to make some money on this, or you're gonna get audited."
Yeah.
So
what's the old joke? You want to make $1 million in the fishing industry? Start with 2 and quit when you hit $1 million.
Yep. Right.
But no, I mean the industry is like, it's what we all love. I mean, it's why we're here tonight. It's why people are tuning in. It's truly what we love, and it's a pastime. I mean, you go back, like we had ice fishing on with Clam, a couple weeks ago, and I said, you get into ice fishing, you don't have to have a couple $100 and you can go ice fishing.
Yeah.
It takes nothing. And then all of a sudden you're neck deep in everything like we are, and you're looking at your tackle boxes going, whoa, I got a lot of stuff. Oh, but I need more. So the industry is great. I've met lifelong best friends out of this industry, and this show will probably, this conference will probably bring me some new lifelong best friends.
Yep.
It's crazy who we talk to, who we meet, and all the people that are involved in this crazy industry we call fishing. And I'm just excited to see what the conference has to come. I'm super excited about the partnership to grow more support for the NPAA and help out the industry, in a whole,
Yeah,
so,
and we appreciate that. I'm excited you guys are coming. Love to hear your input, from your sphere of influence. I mean, that's really what another thing that's about is we bring all of these people in, and they all have their pyramid of influence, and if we can put all that together, we can be a powerful voice in the fishing industry for sure.
Strength in numbers, right? And that's going back to legislative stuff, going back to government stuff. It's strength in numbers.
Yep.
and the NPAA has that, and it can get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, instead of complaining about the problem and not doing anything about it, get involved and try to fix it and do it the right way. That's what I've learned inside living in Pierre, dealing with legislators. I've lobbied a few years, all the different things that I've done. Just because you have a loud voice doesn't mean you're getting anything done. You got to do things the right way, and joining the NPAA would be that way to do something. So I would suggest getting involved, going to the conference if you have time. And
this year's theme is cut through the noise, right?
Right. And there's a lot of noise out there.
There's a lot of noise out there. It's getting louder.
That's why the three legs to the stool and our mission are so important.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in the walleye world. There's a lot going on in the bass world. I don't really follow redfish world or saltwater world, but there's a ton of probably stuff going on there with goods, bads, and the uglies. I mean, it's everywhere. So, and this is a great way to get together and be on a level playing field for me as a tournament director, Jason as a promoter, what we do promoting it as well, to hear what the anglers have to say, and they can hear what we have to say, not in a tournament setting. That's I think what I'm most excited about is we can have conversations and we're not at a rules meeting, or we're not talking about this coming tournament. We're talking about everything in general.
Right. About growing the sport and protecting the sport. And then we learn from that. So that, that's as we grow it, and as you grow something, the one of the biggest parts is the protection of it. And that's really what we strive to be and what we're doing now and what we want to get better at and bigger at.
Fantastic. So let's all get together January 3rd, 4th, and 5th in Wisconsin Dells. It's $125 to attend the conference. You have until December 20th to register. You can join whenever you want, but you might as well join as long as you're registering for the conference, and we'll see everybody in Wisconsin Dells right after the first of the year.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, thanks for your time tonight, Eric. It was great to meet you. I can't wait to see where you go with the NPAA.
Thank you, fellas. I appreciate your time and appreciate the support.
Thank you very much. All right. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.